Hi there! GFL 2's anniversary blesses all Electric Team enjoyers with the long-awaited sisters Lenna and Leva. Lenna is a core support for the team and hails from the early days of the game, released with the second patch after the original CN launch. Unfortunately, back then characters were incomplete or outright dysfunctional at V0, so we will see that outdated design philosophy brought back from the past in Lenna's kit. That said, as usual, we'll start by exploring Lenna's gameplay and contribution to the team, then move on to her build recommendations, and conclude with her strengths and weaknesses. Without further ado, let's get into it. Lenna starts her turns using her S2. This lets her select a tile in a cross-shaped 3-tile area from a position to which she will teleport and attack the nearest target for 30% of her attack, dealing physical damage. Before the damage goes through, she applies stability loss 2 to the enemy for 1 turn, which increases its stability damage taken by 2. Remember that Leva's kit revolves around overclocking strike, which converts overflowing stability damage into bonus damage. This mechanic benefits from stability debuffs on the target. Note that the attack created voltage tiles in a 1-tile radius around the enemy's position. This is a bit hard to see against this boss, but Lenna passively creates the tiles when using single target attacks. Voltage tiles implant electric weakness in the enemy standing on them and add bonus fixed damage via tile reactions when AoE damage is dealt. Then, if Lenna has 3 confectance points before executing her S2, she consumes the points to gain extra command, allowing her to use another ability. When available, her ultimate is her priority. It deals 80% of her attack as electric damage in a 5-tile AoE and creates voltage tiles in the area as well. After the damage goes through, Lenna gains the buff Electric Arc for 3 turns. This makes her apply conductivity to enemies within 5 tiles of herself when they receive active attacks from Lenna or her allies. Conductivity is a debuff that gets converted to paralysis when targets take damage, but that doesn't work against bosses. What matters is that Lenna restores 1 confectance point when the debuff is applied. Here, she already gains 1 point because her ultimate also applies conductivity. She gains Electric Arc afterwards, otherwise she would have restored 2 points. As the ultimate concludes, Lenna's expansion key activates, providing her with another buff that lasts 3 turns. Mika forgot to include this in Lenna's kit preview, so we don't know its official naming, but here it's translated as Ultimate Brilliance. The effects of this buff apply to all electric type allies, increasing their stability damage by 3, doubling the fixed damage from negative charge from 30% to 60% of the original damage, and granting an electric damage boost of 20% when causing voltage tile reactions. Frankly, Lenna's value is largely tied to her expansion key. Jangyu is next in the turn order. As she attacks, Lenna restores 1 confectance point because her Electric Arc buff makes all active attacks apply conductivity, which in turn triggers Lenna's passive. Then, as Jangyu's AoE ability causes a voltage tile reaction, she gains Electric Boost 2, the 20% damage bonus triggered by Lenna's expansion key buff. The same is true for Leva, since her skills and ultimate all deal AoE damage. As her S2 causes a tile reaction, she gains the electric damage bonus. Electric Boost 2 lasts for 2 turns, so after the initial trigger, Leva effectively benefits from the buff for the remainder of the fight. Then, as she performs a single target extra attack Superconductive Strike, she triggers the fixed damage bonus from negative charge. Normally, this is 30% of the original skill damage, which here would be about 36k damage. With Lenna's expansion key, the value is doubled to 60% or about 72k damage. This illustrates how Lenna's impact scales with Leva's investment. The harder Leva hits, the more Lenna contributes to the team's total output. On the next round, you can see that Lenna's ultimate has a huge 6-turn downtime. Attentive viewers may notice that something isn't quite adding up. Lenna's ultimate and expansion key buffs both last for only 3 turns. So what happens when they run out? Well, you better hope the fight is over by then, because afterwards her kit completely breaks apart. She won't be able to properly regenerate confectance points, nor will her expansion key apply its bonuses to the team. That brings us to Lenna's V1 upgrade. With this, she lowers the cooldown by 1 turn for every 3 confectance points she consumes. Her skills consume 3 points each, if available, so this effectively lowers the ultimate cooldown to just 3 rounds. Amazing how that works out. Therefore, Lenna's kit is dysfunctional without her V1 for any fight lasting longer than 3 rounds. I guess we should be thankful that Mika moved away from this terrible design philosophy. That said, Lenna starts by using her S2 again. The skill grants extra commands so long as she has at least 3 confectance points. note that her index was fully recharged due to all the conductivity applied by her teammates. After the skill consumed the convectance points, you can see that her ultimate's cooldown got lowered by a turn. Next, she uses her S1, which deals single target electric damage for 140% of Lenna's attack. The skill benefits from a 30% damage bonus when she has at least 3 convectance points. Moreover, her expansion key boosts the skill's multiplier by another 100% when used during extra command. That's why her damage output is not too bad here. From here on out, Lenna's actions are simply repeated until her ultimate is off cooldown. On round 3, she's at 3 turns downtime. With her V1, her skills lower the cooldown by 2 each round, so alongside the regular cooldown reduction, it is available every 3 rounds, meaning on turn 4, 7 and so on. So long as she has sufficient convectance points, you always start with her S2, which then grants extra command. By ensuring that Lenna remains within 5 tiles of the attack target, this should never be an issue, unless your lineup somehow doesn't have enough active attacks each round. When her ultimate is unavailable, you use her S1, otherwise her ultimate. If your Lenna is V0, you use the same rotation and simply finish the fight after 3 rounds. Alternatively, starting from round 4, you skip her action 3 times until her ultimate is available again on round 7. With that, you've seen everything you need to know about Lenna's kit. It is quite straightforward and doesn't require much thinking, as you're simply following her cooldowns while her buffs apply to everyone on the team. Since Lenna's other upgrades don't add or improve her utility in a significant way, there's no reason to discuss her investment breakpoints any further. It's either V1 or go home. On that note, Lenna's signature weapon, Löwenjunges, is a safe skip. It doesn't provide any support utility whatsoever. In fact, the only redeeming quality is its trait, which is the same as Svarog, up to 20% defense ignore against debuffed targets. The weapon effect provides 9% up to 25% of attack as fixed damage when applying conductivity, which is as underwhelming as it gets. If you manage to obtain the purple UMP9 SMG from Lenna's banner, you could use that instead. It has the same trait and a better effect, so aside from the lower stats, it's not much of a downgrade. While Lenna's damage is fine for a support character, it is nothing to be too concerned with. Slap Svarog on Leather and put your next best SMG option on Lenna. Don't pull any of their signature weapons. Her attachments can be built like any DPS, focusing on attack and crit using Phase Strike or Electric Boost. Moving on to Lenna's fixed key setup. Against bosses, you should use Lenna's first and third keys. The first one grants her 15% defense penetration against paralysis immune targets with conductivity, while the third key switches one buff into a debuff upon applying conductivity. Alternatively, when fighting normal map content, you can switch the keys to the second and fifth keys, which activate when targets are defeated. Her second key grants 2 bonus convectance points when her S1 scores a kill, and her fifth key grants a point when enemies with electric debuffs die. These options ensure that her convectance point economy doesn't suffer too much when she isn't within the critical range of the current target. Aside from that, the only generic option is her fourth key, that makes Lenna apply conductivity to the 2 closest targets within 5 tiles when she uses her S2. This can help with her convectance index restoration and can remain equipped for a lack of better options. In summary, Lenna is a core support for the electric team, offering plenty of amplification while dealing reasonable damage for her support. Most notably, her expansion key doubles the fixed damage from negative charge, from 30% to 60% of the original damage dealt, making her contribution scale significantly with the investment in leather. Moreover, allies receive a 20% electric damage boost when triggering voltage tile reactions upon dealing AoE damage. Then, she provides valuable stability damage bonuses that directly translate into more damage for leather due to her overclocking strike mechanic. In total, her stability loss 2, which she applies with her S2 every round, and the bonus from her expansion key amount to an increase of 5 stability damage for all electric allies. For a V6 lever, this adds 40% of her attack as a skill damage multiplier whenever she attacks broken targets. Other than that, she creates voltage tiles with all her attacks, which is useful since the tiles are consumed by their reactions. With her fixed key, she also gains access to ample buff dispel. On the flip side, Lenna needs her V1 to properly function beyond the third turn. For shorter fights she is fine at V0, but afterwards her kit breaks apart completely. Most importantly, her expansion key buff will run out, which negates the most significant pros on the left side. Then, even at V1, her utility is strictly limited to the electric team, or more precisely to leather. Unlike other elemental cores, you will rarely mix elements with the electric characters, due to leather's reliance on their various mechanics. Lastly, Lenna's value is largely tied to her expansion key. Her base kit did not age well 1 year into the game, let alone demanding a V1 investment. If we were to strike out the parts that come from the key, it's a sorry sight to behold. While she may not need a rework as much as someone like Belka, I guess she would be a decent choice for a 2nd generation expansion key. Hopefully, that would also address the unreasonable reliance on her V1. With that, we've reached the end of this video. This one was a bit shorter than usual, simply because Lenna's kit isn't all that complex. Just like with Leva, my pulling recommendation is straightforward. Pick up Lenna if you're committed to the electric team, otherwise she's a comfortable skip. If you care about Gunsmoke, you'll want her at V1. Outside of that, you can probably get away with V0, since most lower difficulty fights end within 3 turns anyway. That said, let me know whether you're going all in on the electric team or if you're saving for another element instead. I wish everyone the best of luck with their pulls. May the gacha god smile upon you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.